I better get Tone in here before that internet goes.
Oh no, we're solid now, Danny. We're solid now, Big Sills. We're good. I had to make a couple phone calls and you know, bust someone's balls, but everything's good now. Everything's good,
Speaking
man.
of busting balls, I want to hear it. I want to hear what your takeaways are.
You know, all right, all right. I'll start with this part, right? When I speak, right, and again, I'm only going to speak for myself in this regard. When I speak about things, when I speak about certain topics, when it comes to this football team, I'm basing it off of what I'm seeing and how I'm processing it. And do I want the Philadelphia Eagles to blow everybody out? Yeah. Do I want all the players to fulfill their prophecy, fulfill their destiny? Yeah. Do I want all the players to play above and beyond their draft stock? Yeah. Right. But again, we base it off of what we know and what we believe to be true. And if it changes, we follow suit with that. I say that to say the Philadelphia Eagles are who they are, who I thought they were. They're fraudulent and they're pretenders. They are not Super Bowl contenders.
When did that take place? When did that transformation take place, though? When you're talking about, wow, they snow jobbed me. How long did it take you into the 2023 season for you to come to that conclusion?
All right, so I'll quickly take you through the process.
Because the record skewed a lot of people's thinking and takes.
Of course, and I was one of them. You heard me all year, Sills, campaigning for this team, man. You know, ignoring the clear flaws. You know, I came in here with the cigar and with the fedora. You know what I mean? I was excited about my team as I rightfully should have been.
And the record, if anybody's truthful, including me, it made it hard for us to go. And even when I was critical, Tone, so I feel you because I'm like, man, I'm ripping a 10-1 team. Shit.
Right. And for myself, I'm like, yeah, things are a little herky jerky. Things are a little stiff on offense. The defense is up and down, but it'll get better. And, you know, I trust this offense. And, you know, I'm going to trust that Brian Johnson is going to make those strides. I'm going to trust that Nick Sirianni is going to be a better head coach as the season goes. It's a tougher schedule. You know what I mean? You were thinking about things like that, right? The schedule's tougher. So this is only natural, right? They're going to get better. But then you come across the Chiefs game. And they come out so flat out of the bye, not being able to stop the run. But then they still come back and they win the game somehow, some way. So all is forgiven. Then the Bills game, they come out flat again. And they look like they're about to get mollywopped. But yet the late game heroics by Jalen Hurts comes to fruition. The defense makes a play. All is forgiven once again. But then the 49ers game. That was the moment I said to myself, we have real issues. Then the Cowboys game comes. And that's when I said to myself, we don't belong in the same conversation as those teams. And then the Seahawks game comes. And then I say, we don't belong in the playoffs. That's how I feel about this Philadelphia Eagles team. Take what you want with the Eagles fans, feel how you want to feel, but this is my truth. And the way I see it, the Philadelphia Eagles don't even belong in the playoffs. They don't deserve to be there.
The loss is more devastating than the Niners and
It's
Cowboys
more
loss.
devastating than any loss they've experienced all year. I could care less about the Jets loss.
Probably the most devastating loss since the Super Bowl.
That Seattle Seahawks loss is so devastating because you were better than that team, top to bottom, front to back, and Pete Carroll did everything to give you that game. He wasted timeouts in the third quarter. He wasted a timeout and then gave the Eagles a chance to challenge a play and then made them turn the incomplete passes to a sack. And they gave you so many opportunities to win the game. Jalen Hurts throws the first interception. Defense comes back and forces a 3 and out. All you got to do is pretty much run the ball and run the clock down, and then you win the game. But no, that's not what happens. Eagles somehow, some way, turnover on downs. They got to punt the ball. They allowed Drew Lock to drive 90-plus yards. Did you know in that game he had 3 drives of 80-plus yards?
That's freaking amazing.
How do you allow Drew Lock to drive 3 times on you of 80-plus yards? One of them was 90-plus, and that was the game-winning drive.
That's unacceptable.
And then they picked on James. Did you know James Bradbury in that game when targeting James Bradbury,
Here, I got the numbers.
7 for 8.
Here's the
Over
numbers.
100
6 targets, 6 catches, 112, 1 touchdown, 40.2 grade.
It was. Listen to this. Listen to this, man. This is exactly how bad it was. This is how bad it was for James Bradbury. I almost crapped myself. Yeah, you're right. Yep. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 112 reception yards, and a touchdown. The game when you let a rookie do that to you. But first of all, since when did James Bradbury become a man corner? You left him without safety help? So again, I look at this Philadelphia Eagles team, the offense, they don't know who they are, who they want to be. The defense, they don't have it, just flat out. Coaching didn't change anything. You know what that game solidified? It was the personnel issues.
It doesn't
It's
matter
the
who the
personnel.
coordinator is.
It's the personnel.
Totally.
And you said something really key earlier on, right? You said the number one reason coaches get fired is because they're not taking care of their side of the ball. Right? And that's how Dan Quinn got fired in Atlanta. That's how Brandon Staley got fired in San Diego.
And Matt Nagy got fired in Chicago.
Matt Nagy got fired in Chicago. When you're not taking care of your side of the ball, Nick, you put yourself at risk, Nick. You put the team at risk, Nick. So I asked, what's so funny? I asked Eagles fans earlier on Sports Take. I said to them, how many years do you guys honestly believe after this season? Sirianni's been here for 3 seasons so far. After this year, how many years do you guys believe he has left? You know how many people said 1?
It's not 1. It's 2.
Of course not.
It's this year. It's this year. Next year you'll be 9-8, and when they start losing more, they'll fire him.
So beyond this year, you think he has 2 more years left in his organization?
This year, counting one
Okay.
more, then into the middle of the second year, he'll be fired.
So you think he'll be fired midway through?
Yes.
See, I think he'll be fired.
Did Chip.
See, I think he'll be fired in the off season. So I think he has 2 years at the most beyond this.
You think if Howie has a roster and that team starts out like it did, that 4-11-1, you think he'd roll through the tape with him at 4-11-1? Or he would fire him? Because remember something. You know why they let Doug go through the tape? He won a Super Bowl. Okay?
I think it depends on. If he didn't win a Super
Bowl, they'd have fired him mid-season.
I think it depends on who's in the passenger seat. Who's the OC at that time? I think it depends on that as well. But again, I've pontificated a lot, and I'm, ask away, ask your questions.
All right.
I'm just going to let it rip.
Do you believe what I said to you the other day when I said that there's a grand plan that Brian Johnson's next, and that Frank Reich will be brought in as a special assistant to Nick, and they'll have Patricia, Nick, and Frank as your coaches going into the playoffs because they're very underwhelmed with the coordinators on how they've handled it. And remember something with the connection with Hurts and with Nick and with Frank. The number one tape he watches is Jalen Hurts tape, or is Phillip Rivers tape. Nick was the wide receiver coach in San Diego for Frank, who was the coordinator. They all worked together in Indianapolis together with Phillip. And maybe you hire your favorite offensive coordinator in Frank Reich and you put him in the building, and it would be more of an easier transition for Jalen because Jalen has been watching and talking to Frank and Phillip over the last 3 years. He has conversations with Phillip Rivers once a month. So, why not bring the guy in that he follows the blueprint on how you spread people out in the offensive passing? Do you possibly see that could be? Because you can't tell me, Tone, you think they only talked about one side of the ball this past Wednesday.
No, I don't believe that at all. As a matter of fact, to answer your initial question, do I believe Brian Johnson's on the clock? Absolutely. And I'm willing to bet if they throw up a goose egg against the New York Giants, even if they win, if
and look shitty.
if they look shitty on offense, if they put up a 20-point game, I'll put it this way, if they don't put up 23, 24 or more points against the New York Giants, if they don't put up 24 or more points and win, I'm willing to say he's fired. I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to say if Brian Johnson and that offense don't put up 24 or more
They'll
points,
keep him in the building because that's what they do.
You're right. They'll keep him in the building. They'll have him folding laundry in the back or something. I don't know.
What is the side doing now? Getting coffee?
They're gonna have him sharpening pencils or some shit. I don't know. Did you see Sean Desai last night?
Do you give credit to Desai though, like Aikman and those guys, because he did handle himself with professionalism? And you know what? There's a part of me that wants to be very respectful to Sean, because I would say this as a player who had him demoted. And if I was on that side of the ball and I felt responsible for that, and I would feel responsible, I would look at that as a sign of character on his part, but a lack of character. I would have less respect for my organization and more respect for Sean.
I was actually about to say, did you see him last night? Because
I did.
They panned to him. I counted. I think they panned to him at minimum 4 times. Do you know how embarrassing what an embarrassing position they put that man in last night? And it's so funny. I'm paying attention to all the guys around him. I'm paying attention to him. He didn't look up, not once. He didn't say on the camera. He didn't say a single word. All the other guys, they're talking in their mouthpieces. They're doing whatever they're doing, talking, marking stuff down. All you saw was him just on that little Microsoft Surface, writing stuff down, peek up a little bit. He didn't say a word through that microphone. Meanwhile, everyone else is active. Hey, this is what we're seeing. Da, da, da,
you know what he was doing, right?
You know what
he was doing? He was giving Patricia down a distance so Matt could make the call in his ear. They have a connection down there. Somebody said something, so he would type it in, and I'm sure he had somebody that was a spotter for him up top that was conveying 3rd and 6, 3rd and 10, so that Matt could have that as they got the play in. So that's what he was doing. They relegated him to being a down and distance coach.
But to answer your second question,
that's completely disrespectful.
I have a lot of respect for him. To be able to sit, because I'll be honest with you, if
I would have thrown that fucking laptop and that desktop, I would have thrown that.
If I was in those
couldn't
meetings,
handle myself like that. You're not talking to me like that.
If I was in those meetings, Sills, I would have straight up said, "Just fire me. Fire me. What am I here for? Fire me."
I'm not having that.
You think you're going to parade me on television like to fire me? Walk me to my office, give me a cardboard box, walk me to my car, take my key fob, fire me. Because there's no way in hell you're going to have me sitting on TV looking like an asshole. There's no way.
It's parading for Howie.
It's disrespectful.
But that's a Roseman move. No coaching is right. Hey,
can you think of a GM who did that before?
When they fired Ken Dorsey's not hanging around the coaching booth.
Have you ever seen that before?
I've never seen that. I've seen position coaches moved into different roles, but I've never seen coordinators demoted, kept the title. There's a guy calling the plays who doesn't have the title, who's now on the sidelines, who hasn't been on the sidelines all year. I've never seen that.
Listen, you know what I think too. Now I'm about to go real conspiracy on you.
Okay, I love it.
So I want you to follow me here, right? And we try our best not to make this show political. We try our best, but follow me here. Do you think Harry Roseman didn't fire Sean Desai because he knew that if he fired him, he would be firing the first Indian American defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Instead, he demoted him and moved him around. To show that he still had the job.
Yes.
Do you think that was present in his mind?
Completely.
Remember, PR is everything to this organization.
You saw it last week. Absolutely.
PR is everything.
Didn't want to fire a minority.
You didn't want to fire the first Indian American defensive coordinator in the NFL. You didn't want to fire him. You didn't have the
Absolutely.
balls.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If he was white, he'd have canned him.
Listen, I hate even looking at it like that. But I thought about it the moment it happened.
So did I.
I said, wow, the first
kept him on because he's a minority. They were afraid of the backlash of firing minority because you know why? The Rooney Rule and all the things how that rule is, to me, it's a charade. But at the end of the day, they parade that thing out all the time like it's a factor, and it's not. And remember something: there's not a lot of minority position coaches.
Right. And look, black DCs and OCs and head coaches get fired all the time. But the first Indian American to ever be a DC or to ever be a coordinator, he didn't want that smoke on his belt. He didn't want that.
100%.
And again, this is me being conspiracy theory tone right now.
No.
But I want you guys to think on level 10 instead of level 8 or 9. Think just remember, you guys got to keep in mind, this isn't just a sport. This isn't just a kid's game.
It's a TV show.
This is a television show. These are corporations and organizations, multi-billion-dollar corporations with assets, with merchandise, with connections to major networks that with connections to major networks that dictate programming and how we process information.
Hold on, Tone. Cody, no, I'm not saying Desai is privileged. I'm saying they use Desai
you got to understand
as a way of showing, hey, we don't believe in firing minority coaches. We believe in hiring him and elevating him. And so what they're doing is they're using his skin color.
If
as cover.
Again, if he had the privilege, he would have kept the damn job. But again, hear me out on this, Eagles fans. Think about that. Your company hired the very first.
Careful, Tone. You're out on a ledge now.
I am. And you know what's so funny about this? Let me not say funny. For me personally,
no, it is funny because it's being used that way.
I have such an affinity for the Philadelphia Eagles. I've grown up loving this team since I could remember. My very first Eagles jersey was a Brian Westbrook jersey. I was born in '94, so I didn't start being able to understand the game until I was about 6 or 7 years old. That was the beginning of the Donovan McNabb era, in the B Westbrook and the B Doc era. So again, yes, I'm teetering on a ledge right now. I'm teetering.
See, Tone, the reason that you went down that lane, and it's very simple. White people will never go down that lane because they don't have to deal with that. But when you see something like that, being an African-American minority and fighting for things, you know immediately when someone is using race as cover. And so that's your prism. That's how you see. That's the difference between you and most white people and how they see life.
See, when I was in college,
you see it through a different prism because you have to jump through one more hoop than a white guy does. See, a white guy's going to think you're full of shit, but you see, they don't walk in your shoes.
When I was in college, I had to study media beyond just the way we I had to study it beyond just what they show on television. I had to study symbols. I had to study why we think the things we think, why we process things the way we process things, and I had to study why certain companies, organizations put certain people in certain positions, why they use certain logos, why they use certain colors, how our brain processes certain things. And again, Eagles fans, I'm taking you to the business side of it now, not even on the football field. They are a multi-billion-dollar organization.
They care about perception because advertisers do.
Perception, public relations is arguably the most important department for a business because how they're perceived means more to who they actually really are. Think about that. Think about how we are in our everyday lives. Think about social media. We parade ourselves around on social media because we want people to perceive us one way. But in reality, who are we?
Yale's point here. Nobody's saying Desai was doing a great job.
No one's saying
you kept them on, though.
You're not thinking hard enough. They're not thinking hard enough.
That wasn't your point. The point is you kept them on for a reason.
Not thinking hard enough.
For the visual. See, Tone, this is why people take 5% of what somebody says, and they'll put a narrative around it. and they'll say whatever, and they'll come up with something that's totally not true. And
It's
I've been
okay.
a victim of this my entire career.
It's okay. They're not thinking hard
Hey,
enough. It's okay.
Tone, when you talk race and religion and politics, things that start wars, and you put that into sports, you walk a fine line because
You know
words
what we can
matter.
do, Sales? You know what we can do? We can talk about something else because I'm making a lot of people uncomfortable.
Good.
I'm making a lot of people uncomfortable, and
Great.
I'm personally okay with that.
Oh,
But I
I love
also don't. But I also don't want to ruin the final 15 minutes of the show.
You're not ruining
So,
anything, dude.
because
This is my
again,
show, and I
because
like that kind of talk.
I'm approaching it from the perspective of the Philadelphia Eagles trying to protect themselves,
Correct.
not Sean Desai. Sean Desai's job is already gone.
No, they
What
don't
I'm
want to
s-
win, Yale. They want to control.
What I'm saying is, you have to understand when you become the company or whoever to hire the first whatever, you're walking a fine line. You're telling everybody else we're taking a chance on this person, regardless of how they look. But also, if things go bad, they don't want to be the company that fired him either. You got to think about that. But again, I'll leave it there.
Wait, hey,
I'll
this
leave it
is-
there.
this is like a young Sills here, man. I mean, holy
No,
shit.
I see. I think like this. See, my wife sometimes she always says I think a little too hard about things, but sometimes that's a gift and a curse. And I can't deny the first thing I thought about when I saw this name come across, the headlines, because again, when you keep someone in the building, I'm like, I've never seen that before. Who demotes some? Who goes from being the DC to being a clipboard holder and still stay in the building? Who has done this? We've seen Ken Dorsey get fired this year. We've seen Matt Canada get fired this year. We've seen coordinators and head coaches get fired mid-season. Who keeps the dude in the building? Eagles fans, ask yourself that question.
Oh, Tone,
Who keeps the man they fired in the building?
Tone, you.
It's comedy. It's comedy.
Young grasshopper.
It's comedy.
Hey, yes.
Come on, man.
Yes. Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
I've gotten fired before. They didn't keep me in the building.
Oh no, they escort me out the building.
They didn't keep me in the building. They walked me to the front door and said, we'll get your box for you. Okay, don't worry about it. Just wait right here.
We'll mail your shit.
Yo, come on, man.
Hey, Tone, we'll mail your shit. All right, let me move over to this.
All right, let's move on, man. Let's move on.
There's too many people crying.
Oh man.
How about this? What is your now 14 days ago when you were the number 1 seed in the NFL? What is your takeaway now with Nick Sirianni as your head football coach?
Nick Sirianni is what you call. See, here's another leg. Nick Sirianni is what you call a figurehead, right? He's someone who I'll put it this way. Nick Sirianni is the guy that puts the check in your mailbox, but he doesn't sign it. You follow me?
Yeah.
He puts the check in your mailbox, but he doesn't sign it. It doesn't come from his account. You follow me?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
When I look at Nick Sirianni, I said, we talked about this for the past week or so. We said this game is going to be a seminal moment. That was what we said. It was going to be a pivotal moment. And he failed the test. He failed the test. And guess what? It wasn't even the hardest test. The hardest test was the week before. He actually had an easier test this week. And he failed.
Tone, the game was just an exclamation point on the week.
It was an exclamation point on the past 3 weeks.
Okay.
But
maybe
to your point,
the whole year.
Yes, I'm willing to go that far too, because I don't believe he's done enough to evolve this offense, to evolve the quarterback. It's a reason Jalen Hurts has become stagnant after Shane Steichen left.
Earlier in the program, I showed you where, because you have always talked about the projection and the trajectory that this kid was on, like a rocket. He's going like this. So was Shane.
So fast.
Shane Steichen's going now. He's 8-6 with Gardner Minshew. Both these guys are going up like this. All of a sudden, Steichen leaves, right?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, they stopped evolving the offense. Jalen kept going. All of a sudden,
He
they
went as far
started
as he
catching
could.
up with them. And get this, this is why it's such a dramatic down curve,
Mhm.
because they've caught up with him. And you know what they didn't do in Philly? They didn't evolve the offense with him. And that's why he's not evolving, Tone. And he's the word regression. The reason that he's regressing is because of the environment around him.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You know, people are like, "Oh, this is Brian Johnson." It doesn't matter if Brian Johnson is calling the plays or if it's Sirianni calling the plays. They're telling I heard you earlier. Man, there were guys wide open. You know why? They're telling him where to throw the ball. What they tried to
Yes.
do was go ahead of his development and force his development by telling him through analytics where to throw the ball. So when Jalen throws the ball on 4th and 2, don't you think a guy who's so smart like him knows that? He knows that's a bad high percentage turnover play. You have to know that. That's why my problem with Hurts is get out of that play. Fight
Mhm.
those fuckers on the sidelines. You can't make that throw. I'd rather have you throw it out of bounds than throw that. You have to know that in-game play calling, situational play calling. You have to know that. I don't want to hear about it on a Tuesday apologizing that we're not focused enough. Kid,
I said it earlier.
you
I
need
said
to
it
make
earlier.
that call there.
Listen, I said it earlier. I said what we're seeing right now is we're seeing Jalen Hurts being poisoned by a poor
Yes.
philosophy. And this offense philosophy, this organization's philosophy on offense is they wanted to be high powered. They wanted to be they want you gunslinging and 40 plus attempts
How could
and
you be
35
high
plus
powered when you
completions.
got 5 plays?
And the thing is, though, football games have ebbs and flows. Football games take on an identity, and every game does not require you to throw 40 plus passes. Why is this organization so hell bent on trying to validate their purchase? You bought it. Be comfortable with what you bought and be comfortable with how what you bought helps you get to your destination.
Tone, follow me here. How much equity do you now think Joe Brady
I'm
has
so glad you brought that up.
with Josh Allen when Josh Allen only threw 15 passes and completed 7 of them? 7 passes, like it's a 1942 game.
I'm so glad you
7
brought that up.
completions, and they blew out the Cowboys. When he walks off that field, don't you think the next time he gets his game plan like this from Joe Brady and he looks at it, this guy's got complete conviction in believing that that guy's going to put him in a position, whether it's 35 attempts or 2 attempts. He has convinced. Don't you think that goes far with a player so that the player, that's why he's playing like his hair's on fire,
Exactly.
because he believes in him.
Exactly. And I'll say this, right? Just because you have the biggest gun, that don't mean you use it, right? And my point in saying that is, the biggest problem we had with Josh Allen over the past couple of years is what? He's so talented and he knows it. And he believes he has to do everything because he's so talented. And he has to use the full arsenal every single game.
Like Jordan.
No, that's not how. Yes, like Jordan. But no, that's not how, in my opinion, you use a franchise quarterback. That's not how you use or maximize the skill set of your franchise quarterback. That's not how you get to the destination. In my opinion, you always want a quarterback with a wide range of skills. That's what you want. But you're not going to use every skill in every game. But it's always good to know you have it, right?
Because it puts the fear in your guys that you're playing against, too.
Exactly. So just because we know Jalen Hurts has this wide range of a dynamic skill set doesn't mean you have to validate the contract or validate that skill set every single game. It doesn't mean you have to throw for 250, 300 yards every single game with 40 plus attempts and 30 plus completions. Every game does not call for that. Just because you got the most guns in the locker doesn't mean you got to use them all when you go into battle. You use what's necessary to win that battle, and then when it's wartime, then you break out the big guns. So my point is, how much equity did Joe Brady buy, or how much equity did he earn with Josh Allen? A tremendous amount, because you know what he proved to Josh Allen. Allen, you're so talented, but hear me out on this. We don't need your talent every game. You know, we need your leadership. We need you to quarterback this team. We need you not to make mistakes. And guess what? Protect the football. And guess what? When it's time for you to take the bazooka out of the tool shed, then we'll let you fire it. But every game, every throw doesn't have to be your biggest throw. And I think that's the equity Joe Brady bought with Josh Allen.
Josh Allen in that game was a decoy.
The threat of him just there.
The threat of him there. Cook went. That guy Cook, I didn't know he was that
he went
good.
crazy.
I mean,
I didn't think he's that good either. I knew he was okay, but
I didn't know he was that good. But guess what? Joe Brady turned Josh Allen into a decoy. Because you're like, this guy's going to let loose here, man. He's just going to let loose. And the Cowboys were hoping that he would let loose because he throws high turnover plays.
Exactly.
Okay. And when they didn't, that's when they got rolled.
Exactly. And guess what? Howie Roseman and these guys, their mindset is, well, we paid him, so we got to get the money. We got to get our money worth. I hate this whole theory that, because you're paying this guy, this means you have to always make sure he's a part of the game plan for that day, or you have to make sure he gets the most targets or the most looks. I don't believe in that. I believe in game planning for the situation. I'll put it this way. I believe in making sure I have what I need when I need it for any situation, right? So, for example, I believe in paying a guy like A.J. Brown. I believe in drafting a guy like Devontae Smith. I believe in paying a guy like Dallas Goedert. You want to know why? Because when I need those kind of guys, they're going to be able to make those plays. You know how many teams, when they need it, they don't have it? You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, yeah, you paid A.J. Brown, you paid Dallas Goedert, you drafted Devontae Smith, you paid Jalen Hurts, but just because you allocated those assets to those guys doesn't mean that they have to be your end-all, be-all for every situation, in my opinion. You know, it's called game planning. It's called being creative. It's called using your guys to the best of their ability and also utilizing your entire offense and making your entire offense dangerous. You know what their game plan is? A.J. Brown or bust, Devontae Smith or bust. That's their game plan.
They don't have a game plan. They have a play sheet. Now, think about what I just said. A game plan was Joe Brady. A play sheet is what Jalen works off of.
Stills, real quick.
There's a difference.
Real quick, live chat. I need your help on this one, right? I know all of you guys have played Madden. Follow me here. I know all of you guys have played Madden. In Madden, you're able to pick your plays based off of formation, play type, concept, or player. You know what the Philadelphia Eagles do? They don't pick their plays off of formation.
No.
They don't pick it off of concept.
Nope.
They pick it off of player. They click the button that says AJ Brown plays, and they just pick whatever play they want in the AJ Brown roll sheet. Now, Eagles fans in the live chat, tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Because again, they're not being creative with the formations, they're not being creative with the play sheet. They're just saying, they're going to the AJ Brown tab on the iPad and saying, okay, let's run all the AJ Brown plays. Let's run all the Devontae Smith plays. That's what they're doing. They're playing football like a 10-year-old in Madden. They're playing football or calling plays like a 10-year-old in Madden.
The only thing creative at the NovaCare Center is that thing that Chip Kelly brought in. What was that, What was that ice cream cone? That's the only thing creative over at that place. So let me go here with you on this. Do they beat the Giants? Holy cow. Remember this, Brian Dable. Brian Dable will be the OC going against that defense.
Can can you give me till Friday? Can you give me till Friday?
Yeah. How about this? Are you feeling comfortable you're going to win?
Can you give me till
Yeah,
Friday?
yeah. I guess I
Can you
can.
give it till Friday,
Yeah,
please?
yeah. No. I can. I can. Hang on here now. What do you make a AJ Brown? What do you make a or T.O. Brown going off on social media with people and trying to validate himself or what have you? I think he's another one. I mean,
I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. You know, just because people say certain things about you in the media, that doesn't mean that it's true. Or let's just say
oh,
fans,
really?
because that's because he's talking about fans, right? Or whatever. Just
I got
because a fan says this or that, that doesn't mean they know you or know you from a can of paint. You say it all the time. You say, look, people can free what they want. They don't know me. My friends know me. The people around me know me. The people that put in the work with me know me, right? You know, they don't know. So like, so my thing is, AJ need to chill. And I like AJ Brown. I'm an AJ Brown dude, but he got to chill. Your team is on a 3-game losing streak. Do not put yourself in that limelight, my man. Do not do that. But you're already done so. So again, AJ need to fall back. I mean that. And again, I'm an AJ dude, but he got to fall back, man. Not a good look. Poor timing. He just appears to be tone deaf. No pun intended.
All right. So you've been in a pretty bad mood for about 3.5 weeks, dog. I got to tell
About
you.
a month. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
About a month.
there's something about it, man. So there's been like, to get this, it's like a jilted lover. Like some chick just like you found out she's got like a separate burner phone or something, and you found out, and you're like this. What the hell is going on? Who's Junior?
No. It's not Junior. It's labeled
Miss Junior.
it's labeled Napa.
Napa.
Napa warehouse.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Napa
that's
car
right.
parts.
Yeah, right.
Why do you keep why do you
Wawa
keep
South.
calling? Why do you keep calling Napa car parts? I don't get it.
How come Wawa calls you at night at 12:30? What's going on?
I don't understand. Like, why are you getting muffler deliveries at midnight?
Because the pipe's coming. Hey, you want to hear though?
God.
I'm going to end this thing on a good note. You know what's crazy though, Tone?
What's up?
If they do get their shit together, and I'm saying the only reason they get their shit together is because of one. Okay. I say this: you end up 13-4. You win the East. You're in the 2-hole. Oh, hey, wait a minute. Will you see his face, folks? Watch this. Hey, and you end the season 13-4. You're 27-7, and you go home after getting bounced in the divisional round.
Listen.
Isn't that a good year for you?
No. 13-4 never looked so ugly. 13-4.
But you'll be 27-7 in the last 2 years, and you get bounced in the opening round.
Listen, man, that's good for contract negotiations. That's not good for us who spend our hard-earned money on this team to go to these games, buy the merchandise, support these teams, all that, so on and so forth. Nah, I ain't buying that, man. I'm not being sympathetic to guys that's crying in Ferraris and crying in Bentleys. I'm not being sympathetic. At the end of the day, you owe us. You owe us. You owe us. Okay?
All right. With that being said, my man Tone, I'm glad that we finally got you on and you got that Wi-Fi fixed. So Tone will be on in his normal spot tomorrow. Man. By the way, I'm trying a new kid out tomorrow. His name is X. He's a social media guy, and he's reached out to me, and I'm going to try to get him on. And also, Ron Jaworski's tomorrow.
Hey, sounds good to me, man.
This kid and Ron Jaworski tomorrow. So I'm always looking to help people try to get ahead. So I'm going to see. Hey,
listen, man, that's dope, man. Listen, this was like a power segment. I like the way the segment went, man. But again, sometimes we can make people a little uncomfortable.
Hey, Tone, that's the whole thing, dude. Doing cookie cutter radio is not anything, or broadcasting is nothing I've ever done.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Angela
That's why I'm always getting in trouble.
I'll be honest. Angela put the battery in my back earlier. Angela was like, listen, dude, if I can't say my opinion, why the hell am I talking?
Hey, how come Angelo and us are the only people in Philly that don't buy what they're shoveling at the NovaCare Center? It's really disappointing. You know what I heard D Gunn today? D Gunn, I'll throw D Gunn in that room. D Gunn's not buying their bullshit either.
No, he's not.
He's not buying that either. D Gunn's not buying it. He wasn't buying it either. Okay. So I'm not going to put D Gunn in that thing.
Yeah, me and Rob was talking all week. Rob was like, no, something's not right. He knew Rob wasn't buying it either. I'll give Rob that love too.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, me and Rob, we've been dissecting it all week and we talking off camera. Rob's
maybe
not buying
even
it.
Jody too. You know, I'll tell you
no,
who did a great job.
Jody has no allegiance.
Hey,
Jody.
I'll tell you who had a great week.
John.
Yes. I heard John I watched a little bit of thing on Sunday when that news broke. John cut right into it.
Last night.
I'll give it to him.
He cut into it last night too.
Yeah, man. Okay. Tone. Big Joe and Xander, thank you. Tone, you're killing it once again. Tone, we're going to get you in a good mood, man. How about this? One thing I've got to say about Tommy.
Hey, listen, I don't need you guys to get me in a good mood. I'll leave that to my wife. So you guys are good.
Yeah, very good. That's very, very nicely put too. And I'll say this to you about Tommy DeVito. Tommy, in about 2 months from now, on those appearances, you'll be glad to get the 5 pies. 25 grand, kid. You might want to reevaluate that. Okay. 4 months ago, you'd grab the 5 pies as your appearance fee. Okay. Now he's talking about 25 grand. Come on, kid. You're gonna be back to grabbing the pies in 3 months.
Silly. He's silly,
2 to 6 tomorrow. We shall catch you on the flip side later.
Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near. Shop, have a beer. Christmas shopping shouldn't be hard. Give your friends a Hooters gift card.
This year, stuff their stockings and yours too with a one-size-fits-all gift card. Buy a $25 Hooters gift card and receive a $5 Santa's bonus card. Make it Hooters for the holidays.
Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near. Gift cards are here. Good at Hooters everywhere now. Hooters gifts are always favored.